Here is showing basically various tapes, various composites of what the latest state-of-the-art of computer animation is, some of the latest storyline formats. In the case of, I have a friend, is Steve Churchill, who produces some of these tapes, and some of these are commercially available, and such as like Mind's Eye. I understand they sell that at Radio Shack, and it's a very good tape. And what he's done is he's done a composite of about 300 artists' work, and then he puts an original soundtrack to it. So you actually have like a kinetic image of computer animation happening on your television while you're hearing the music itself. And so you get a glimpse of how they kind of fit together in a stimulating way. And we're also showing state-of-the-art of computer animation 2 here, which is a composite of various of storyline computer animation bits, so people can watch and then catch for what people do, MIT Media Labs, the different companies are doing in that particular line.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, where are we going in the future with this high technology here, virtual reality, 3D TV, and of course holography?
Okay. Well, that's again one of my motives for putting the show together. Is that it's a theory I have. Is the fact a lot of technologies filter down to the public, right? They go to the conventions first, and they go out to the trade magazines, things along this line. What I'm trying to do is to take the cutting edge of technologies and bring it right down to the public, so the public on a mass level gets exposed to this, so there's no fear, no resistance to it. And my theory is that it will speed it all up. Where we're going to it, I try to keep the show to, I don't have, like every time I do a show, I've never duplicated my show. I'm always adding to it different holograms, different designs. In changing the environment that the show is shown in. We're actually getting into more where there's going to be displays, more like a Disneyland type of an environment, so people actually go into a structure that's fun to be in any case, and then get exposed to different technologies and as many ones as I can show, and you might say budget allows.
So if you came back next year, the audience would probably see something totally different again?
Yeah, totally different. Plus, we're right now pursuing a lot of corporate sponsorship, so I can get more of a budget to do the show with and not have to tax the fares as much as far as the costs and expenses are involved. So definitely, if I come next year, it'll be an entirely different show.
Are you still touring in Canada, or are you heading back to the States after this?
No, this is the first show we're doing in Canada. It's the first time I've been in Canada, and it was also something I worked with Fair to make it kind of special to be the first time it's been seen in Canada, and then if I come back, it will be later on in the year or next year.
Is there any other interest from other places that would like to have your exhibit shown?
Yeah, I'm leaving here to go down to Portland for it's a computer animation museum and gallery where we're going to put a permanent installation of holograms in there and also show some other technologies. Right now it's basically based on animation cells and computer animation, and we're just kind of broaden that a bit. Then I go down to Los Angeles to another gallery down there to set that up. And so it's, again, it's not just the expo kind of an environment that I'm doing it in, but also galleries, charities, all kinds of different capacities.
So this event you mainly organize by yourself, or do you have any support on that?
I mainly do it. Well, I have a lot of people who it's not nobody on the full-time basis, but I have designers and artists and people who work with me. And we brainstorm, like if we're putting together an amusement ride, we'll sit down and brainstorm what we want to do and what technology we want to bring into. I'm also working on an interactive television show now that we hope to syndicate across the United States, and using computer animation into that. And so the project's along this line.
Okay, I'd just like to thank Jeff Allen for coming down today, for allowing me to come in and ask him these questions about the different exhibits he has. I know you're probably quite busy once the audience gets going here, and they have a lot of questions to ask you. I know I've asked you quite a few questions today, but thanks for taking your time out to let me interview you, and I really enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
And I appreciate you coming down here, and I also appreciate what you do as far as putting on an educational show and giving people access to the information you come across. And if there is any other questions your audience has with me, they can reach me through you, or you can certainly give them my number, and I'd be happy to forward them to any places or information or ask anyone.
I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you have any more questions about holography and you couldn't get in touch with the phone tonight, you can call me at 775-3548 and leave a message on my machine, and I'll be happy to get it to my two special guests. I'd just like to ask Lee now. He's holding up a hologram that we can take a look at with the camera if we could. And while we're doing that, I just want to ask Lee how we basically got into the area of holography, and how did you get to know about all these different products that are available that I see in front of the table today?
Actually, a girlfriend sent me a keychain from Ottawa, and can you see it? No. Oh, sort of. And she had sent me a keychain from Ottawa And I'd never seen it before, so I went down there to visit her, and there's a gallery there in the old market. So when I got back, I started a lot of long-distance phone calls and tracked down a bunch of suppliers and opened up the store.
So you basically found, since that there was nobody else in town doing that, that there was great interest shown in what you were offering?
Yeah, there's still great interest. We're the only people in the province with it. Excuse me, and a lot of people were interested in it.
And also my guest, I guess he mentioned he just got into it too. How did you happen to take an interest in the area, and why did you get involved in holography?
Well, you know, I'd seen the covers on National Geographic and everything, and I'd also been in Lee's store, and when I first saw it, it really grabbed me. I mean, it seems like a new technology. I'm very interested in new technologies, and just in terms of image reproduction, just seems like the next logical step technologically, from photos. We have the technology to do it, and there's no point in staying with 2 dimensions when you can move on to 3 dimensions. It's similar to black and white photography and color photography. After black and white photography, they got color photography, who wanted to stay with the old technology.
You also mentioned that you have a studio in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Could you give the audience a brief idea of what the studio might look like, and maybe what kind of approximate investment you've had to make and to actually produce holograms in the city here?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that's very important in holography is to have a completely motionless working surface. So I have a table set up with, it's a very heavy table, and I've got tire tubes on top of it, and then a sandbox filled with hundreds of pounds of silica sand, and on which I mount my laser and all my lenses and my photographic plates. And then I've just got my developing area for developing the film when I'm finished. And it's just set up in the basement of my home.
Did you find that you had to buy a lot of these equipment from outside Canada, or was all available locally here?
No, I bought it all from Edmunds Scientific in New Jersey.
So it had to be, I imagine, shipped insured, and it was quite costly to purchase, even though you bought it from the States?
Yes, it was.
What kind of an investment would a person that wanted to get in this area looking at? Like, if you compare it to other investments of new technologies?
Well, it's similar to photography, but it's much more expensive. It's you have to purchase the laser, which can run anywhere from $400 to well over $1,000. You have to purchase the film. The film's very expensive. All the chemicals are both costly and difficult to obtain. And then just the building of the table, the working surface, is costly when you put it all together. So I suppose probably on average $1,500 for a lower end setup, and upwards of $3,000 or $4,000 for a better one.
You mentioned that you put together the table. Who taught you how to set up the equipment? How did you find this out? What required to do?
I researched it all myself and just bought books and went to libraries and did a lot of reading.
Did you happen to actually talk to people that were in the direct field too in your research?
I talked to them. They weren't very helpful at all, holographers, because of the immense commercial applications. They're very secretive. There's like commercial secrets. So I called some of the bigger holography companies in the States, and they were no help at all. They essentially just told us, we had to stumble through it and learn it ourselves. Do the same for yourself.
And what kind of applications would you say that you make holograms for? Entertainment value or other reasons to make holograms for people?
Right now I'm just making them for entertainment value. Eventually I'd like to start getting into trade show applications. It has a lot of mechanical engineering applications for finding stress concentrations and things like that. And it has innumerable applications. The military uses it, for heads-up display in fighter planes and stuff.
And one other thing, you mentioned that you do custom design work. If a person wants to, say, get a hologram, they have this nice photo, or they have some idea what they want to do, what would you require from them to make a successful hologram, and what are the limitations?
First thing I'd require is I'd need the actual object, the three-dimensional object, and then virtually the only limitations are size, and color is also a limitation. Certain colors like black does not reflect well, so it won't make a good hologram. Red and white work the best, and size limitations. You know, for the holograms that I make, which are just straight reflection holograms, it's real life size, so it can't be bigger than the film. And the only film I have is 4x5 sheets.
Okay. We just have a call here I'll take. All About Computers, you're on there.
Hi, Barry. Congratulations on those opening credits. They really spiff things up. My question, though, is I've noticed the odd hologram on things like credit cards or the back of the DOS-5 manuals, but I'm wondering, as an end user, what are the more practical applications of holograms? I know you've talked about the aesthetics, but as a computer user, what are the practical applications for me?
Okay, we'll ask one of our guests that question.
We'll see what.
As a computer user, the beauty behind holograms is they have a property called redundancy, which is because it works on the interference of light waves. All of the information about the object is contained in every part of the hologram. So right now, work is being done to develop information storage on holograms, which would be a lot better than CD-ROMs, like hundreds, thousands of times more information on a hologram.
Thank you for your question, sir.
Oh, thanks very much for the answer.
Okay. Okay, we just have a couple of minutes to wrap up. I'd just like to thank my guests for coming down tonight and share with us their knowledge about holograms. Thank you, Lee, and thank you, AAC, for coming down. I appreciate that. I'm just going to mention to people that there's going to be a special interest group meeting tomorrow night at 741 Portage Avenue. If you're a person that wants to learn more about Windows products or Quicken 5, you can come down to 741 Portage Avenue tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and we'll be talking about the Quicken Group Windows and the BBS SIG group. And I also want to mention about a new bulletin board that I've now found out about. It's called the DEF CON BBS, and its phone number is 957-7699. The SysOp is Terry Taylor. It's a brand new board. It's run by the High School's Manitoba Associated Student Council and Youth Communications Winnipeg. It's a very interesting board. They have message bases educational. The KesherNet conference was a Jewish information net, and they also have messages from all over the world, and they also have some users that call direct from Saudi Arabia, apparently. Another new one to call is Al Diablo at 786-1162. This one has 139 message bases, about 5,700 files, and has a CD-ROM online. So I just wanted to make final mention that on my next show, I will have as my special guest Murray Alkites, Publicity Director for Muddy Waters Computer Society. He'll be talking about two major upcoming events, their annual flea market held in October of this year, and the annual Winnipeg Computer Show to be held in May of next year. Other topics to watch for in the coming months are going to be ones on Windows 3.1, OS2 2.0. I'll be featuring accounting software, laser printer products, and I hope to do a very special program with the Amiga 2500 talking about the new tech video toaster. And of course, I will be doing programs on the Macintosh. If you have any comments about the show, please call my number, 775-3548, and give me your comments, as I would like to do a show what you want to do. I thank you for watching, and please be with me again on September the 14th, at which time I will help you learn all about computers. Bye for now.